funeral service to be held at Kololo today. We'll be broadcasting it to you live here on Channel 44, and the liberation fighter is to be buried in Kazo tomorrow. That's what is happening around us here in the nation. And also, ex-minister Kanyomozi dies at 81 years. The former Minister for Cooperatives in the Milton Obote II government, Yonasani Bankobeza Kanyomozi, has died. He was 81 years old. Kanyomozi, who served as a Member of Parliament for Kajara County in Tugamo District between 1980 and 1997, died yesterday afternoon at Nakasero Hospital in Kampala, where he had gone for a routine medical checkup, according to his friends. And also, still in the Daily Monitor, over 60 in hot water over titles in wetlands. Land Ministry has summoned 61 companies and individuals over possession of land titles in Chinawataka wetland in Kampala. That's what is those are some of the headlines in the Daily Monitor. And also in the New Vision, Museveni reassures teachers on salary. President gives teachers 500 million shillings for resource center. It's in the New Vision today. General Eli Tumine to get 17 gun salute. Major General Samuel Kawaga is the one who led other officers in escorting the casket containing the body of General Eli Tumine at his home in Nakasero, Kampala, where a wake was held yesterday. And also, Saudi envoy speaks out on torture. Get the details in today's New Vision. Environment police warns churches over noise pollution. That one, they were here at the Miracle Center Cathedral, where the Deputy IGP was addressing the pastors on noise pollution and many others. Grievances were heard. You can get the details of what happened here at the Miracle Center Cathedral in today's New Vision. And also, over 170 job offers. There are many stories today in the New Vision. Allow me to take you straight into our news headlines today on the international scene. The United Nations has called for an immediate stop to hostilities in Libya following a day of deadly clashes between political factions in the capital, Tripoli. At least 32 people were killed and dozens were wounded during the fighting, according to the health ministry. Among the dead was young comedian Mustafa Barak, and Libya has been in chaos since the NATO-backed uprising in 2011 that ousted long-serving ruler Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Despite this, the country had enjoyed a relatively calm period over the past 2 years. On Saturday, armed forces of the internationally recognized government tried to push back a convoy of military loyal to Fathi Bashaga, the man who is recognized as Prime Minister by a rival Eastern Parliament and is vying for control of the country. There were reports of small arms fire and explosions in several areas of the capital. Black smoke could be seen rising across the city. Emergency services say the number of hospitals had been hit, and people were also evacuated from areas around the fighting. On Sunday, which was yesterday, there was quiet in the capital. Moving on, at least 25,000 people, migrants, have crossed the English Channel to Kent so far in 2022. According to the latest figures from the Ministry of Defense, a total of 915 people reached Kent in 19 small boats on Saturday. Women and children are among a group brought ashore by an RNLI lifeboat at Dungeness. There have been 8,747 crossings detected in August so far, with 3,733 in the past week. Monday, which is today, saw 1,295, the highest daily total on record. And in the United States, 2 United States warships are passing through the Taiwan Strait, according to a U.S. Navy that has announced. It is the first such operation to take place since the tensions between Taiwan and China increased following a visit by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan earlier this month. The US and other Western navies have routinely sailed through the strait in recent years. China reacted to Ms. Pelosi's visit by holding military drills in the area. Yesterday, Taiwan's defense ministry said it detected 23 Chinese aircraft and 8 Chinese ships operating around Taiwan. Among the detected aircraft, 7 crossed the median line of the Taiwan Strait, an unofficial barrier between Taiwan and China. And also, hundreds of people are stranded across the river in the Manur Valley of the Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province after a flash flood hit the region on Friday, destroying at least 10 bridges and dozens of buildings. The Manur Valley is located in the mountains of Kargan, a famous tourist destination in Pakistan. The valley has been hit by a torrential flood that killed at least 15 people, including women and children. Flash floods swept away the only concrete bridge connecting the Sindh Valley to the main city. Since then, all the villages on the other side of the river have been cut off and residents are waiting for help. And also, going on to Europe, Belgium's energy minister has warned that EU countries will face 5 to 10 terrible winters if nothing is done to reduce natural gas prices. Calls are mounting for an EU-wide cap on the price of gas and its decoupling from the price of electricity. EU states have been struggling with huge energy price hikes since key gas supplier Russia invaded Ukraine in February, triggering sanctions. Countries backing Ukraine are trying to cut imports of Russian gas and oil. Russia, which supplies the EU with 40% of its gas last year, has in turn restricted supplies. Belgian Energy Minister Tini van der Straeten wrote on Twitter that gas prices in Europe needed to be frozen urgently, adding that the link between gas and electricity prices were artificial and needed to be reformed. And moving on, the American Space Agency is counting down to the liftoff of its giant new moon rocket, the Space Launch System. SLS is the most powerful vehicle ever developed by NASA and will be the foundation of its Artemis project, which aims to put people back on the lunar surface after a 50-year absence. The rocket is timed to go up from the Kennedy Space Center at 8:33 local time today. Its job will be to propel a test capsule called Orion far from Earth. The space aircraft will loop around the moon on a big arch before returning home to a splashdown in the Pacific Ocean in six weeks' time. And moving on, Russia's plan to expand its armed forces is unlikely to have impact on the Ukraine war, according to UK's Minister of Defense. Vladimir Putin recently signed a decree to increase the Russian armed forces military personnel to more than 1.15 million people, a potential increase of 137,000. But the MOD said the boost was unlikely to increase Russia's combat power, partly because of ongoing losses. President Putin's decree came among the military recruitment drive, which has been reporting that recruiters have even been visiting prisons, promising inmates freedom and money. Currently, Russia has a limit of just over 1 million military personnel, plus 900,000 civilian staff. In one of its regular updates on the war, the UK ministry said it was not clear if the planned increase would be achieved by recruiting more volunteers or by increasing conscription. Well, that brings us to the end of this morning's news update. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank you so much for being part of Channel 44 Television. I also remind you of the Karamoja cry. We are sending food relief to the people of Karamoja who are dying of hunger, and so far we have sent 70,000 metric tons of food, but the need is still great. This week our aim is to send 100,000 metric tons of food. You can please join us by sending your seed to the numbers that will be available during the services. Alternatively, you could bring your seed to the Miracle Center Cathedral, hand it over to the pastor. He will pray for you a special blessing, or you can send it to the numbers that will be availed. You will be tremendously blessed. We are sending a fortified meal that contains millet flour, maize flour, rice flour, oats, milk, sugar, and many others that will help revamp and rejuvenate the people of Karamoja back on their feet so that they can live again. I remain Mercy Gashegu Sembatia together with Livingstone Kawesi. The Pastors Now program is up next. Do not touch your dial. God bless you and good morning.